boy, that's an interesting time to come back into position. But I guess better late than never. Oh, bear with me on this because haven't done this in a very, very long time, so this is going to be shaky. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, the unreliable ones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the newsroom and welcome to the Galtopia News Network, your unreliable source for DSP News. This is the Snort Report, brought to you by SnortBucks Coffee Company, the best beverage company. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing? I haven't seen you guys in like forever. Like forever. I haven't seen you guys in a really long time. So this is going to be kind of fun. At least I hope so. Now, couple of things, since I'm like massively behind per se, but I'm kind of caught up as it pertains to what's going on with the war. All right, so Phil was able to get his bankruptcy. Good for him. Was that a victory? No, but he was granted it, so it is what it is. If you look at the current like climate and landscape, it kind of makes sense that he would be granted it. And there'll be other people that are going to be filing for bankruptcy too. The next couple years are going to be rough. So I don't know. I guess it is what it is. I heard things about detractors being on suicide watch or butthurt. Don't understand that, but I'll address that at a later time, I guess. And the vest streak, at the time that I'm recording it, it's a fraud. Because if Burnell has done me justice, the vest streak ended at like 73. And everything else after it is basically just a fraud. It's a rather pathetic display of an individual who's trying so very hard to hold on to something that has succeeded up to a particular point, which was 73. Now, if you guys are following me from the Fight Club channel, that channel we don't talk about, I've already given you guys my hot take on that. Phil needs the vest streak for a couple different things. One, it's been successful. At least up to a particular point. None of us can really deny that. It's been successful. It's been probably the most successful either tip goal that he's ever really had, because it has been rather consistent. You remember back when people like myself as well as others said that he should set a daily sub goal of $100 per stream or $200 on one of the streams or both of the streams. Well, this was it, and it actually succeeded, at least for a little while. With that being said, Phil has become dependent on that money. He can't give it up. With that being said, the vest streak itself has to keep going because it's the only thing that people in Phil's fan base can actually believe in out of all the other bullshit that they're ingesting or taking in. It's the only thing that they can really believe in. And if Phil would stop being an ass clown and stop trying to cheat them on the sub goal, on the vest goal, then people would know when they hit it or not. Let me give you an example. When Phil will sit there and get a bunch of tips, right? And he'll count them up, to help build the accumulation of what the sub goal is. But then if a $5 tip comes in, or like a $7 tip or a $10 tip comes in and he thinks it might be trollish, he won't count it. Or he'll be playing and he'll take a quick glance over and see it, but then he doesn't acknowledge it. And he'll let a bunch of other ones kind of compile onto it and add those and not add that one. It's almost like he's trying to cheat it and get a little bit more than the $100, which it's Phil. Of course you would expect that. With that being said, it eventually came back to bite him, as it was going to. He should have just stuck to the goal. Instead, he tried to cheat the goal, and it finally blew up on him when it came to what should have been vest streak 74, to be honest. Obviously, he never hit 74, which is why it ended at 73. But anyway, that's just one way of looking at it. So it is what it is. But it's good to be back. There is a lot of projects that ended up getting vaulted because we were battling a lot of problems over here. Also, big ups to a lot of you who have been really supportive and whatnot with the fact that there hasn't been any content on the channel. And big ups to, obviously, everybody here at GTG Network and Productions, working this stuff out with YouTube and working out all this other stuff, which could have gotten really, really ugly, and so on and so forth. I might actually tell you guys the story of all this one day and whatnot. But needless to say, they were coming after your cute pup in the sharp suit. Shit was wild. Shit was real wild and whatnot. But that is what that is, and so on and so forth. The majority of that has been worked out, so that's why you're listening to this now. Big ups to Ghostly Wins, who's been playing PR, not playing, he actually did. He was running PR for us for like the last like 2 months and whatnot. He took a lot of shit. He took a lot of shit for us. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because people were asking when certain stuff's going to come out, so on and so forth, and so on and so. And, you know, he did a lot for us. He really did. And I very much appreciate that. Very much so. So, like I said, I think he already knows that, like, how much I appreciate that. But, still, it's best to say it. So, thank you very much to Ghostly Wins. And to anybody else, too, who was really, like, you know, just supporting us and holding us down in this bit of a hiatus. So, that's a thing. Let's see here. I mean, let's not hold off, you know, unceremoniously. Let's go ahead and get into the funnies. Well, that's usually the tagline for the other channel. But let's go ahead and get into the news as I know it. I am very, very behind. So please kind of like just be a bit patient with me, and we're gonna work through this. We're gonna start with May. At the time that I'm recording this, we're in like mid-May. So I'm gonna go back and do all of May, and then eventually we'll go back to March and April, wherever I left off. Because I've been out the game for like 2 months or something like that. So we will eventually recoup all that. Whatever that I have vaulted, if it can, after all the problems go away, if they can go up, then that'll save me a lot of trouble. If not, then it is what it is and whatnot. So just like I said, just kind of be patient, because I am hard at work, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody here is at GTG Network and Productions. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 videos that are going to make up our broadcast, both of them brought to us by SnortBucks, because of course. DSP. First video. If you don't believe me about my ear infection, you're an idiot and refusing to show the medication. This is from May 1st of 2020, our second and last video to round out our broadcast. Also by Burnell. Let's see here. DSP. DSP, okay. Jump off a cliff. Jesus Christ, did you really say that? Jump off a cliff if you don't believe my ear infection. New sub goal and 56 vest streak. This is from May 2nd of 2020, our current year of gout. Also, at the time that I'm recording this, big ups to Burnell, who is uploading 2 videos a day every once in a while and whatnot. So that's been great. So definitely big ups to Burnell on that. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get to the situation. Hopefully all of you guys are doing well. Hopefully all of my peers in this crazy detractor community thing is doing alright. Thinking about doing a segment that's going to go over like Twitch drama and whatnot, because the way things are imploding over there is actually starting to get pretty interesting. As well as at the time that I'm recording this, apparently the thing is to attack people's sponsorships now. So that's a thing. Yeah, whatever, that's a thing. So I think I got a hot take on that or two. Hopefully some interesting stuff to come up and whatnot without getting myself into too much shit right away. But you know what I mean, I'm a dog and I gotta chase it. So that's what we're gonna do. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report. And this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes! A GTG Network and Productions. You guys all know the slogan. I don't smell no bacon cooking. But we're about to get on that. We are about to get on that. Because ladies and gentlemen, we're slowly but surely going to get ready to open up SnortBucks yet again. But until then, it's time. It's time to watch me work. It feels good. It feels good.
Let's play the game!
My bad. That was buggy video mechanics on our part. Sorry about that.
Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
So, here's the deal, everyone.
I've had an ear infection since last week. I just didn't really tell anybody because, you know me, I try to push through whatever the hell's going on with me, and I try to be here consistently for you guys as much as I can, especially with this whole pandemic recently. I've just been trying to kind of ignore anything that would be throwing me off and just keep pushing forward, all right? Back on Friday of last week, I started to have pressure and pain in my right ear, and I just kind of ignored it. I was like, whatever, it happens. On Saturday, I started to have swelling and aching in my right ear. And I was like, well, this sucks. It's probably going to be some kind of at least a minor infection. You know, and...
You know. All right, first things first. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Snort Burnell. DSP. If you don't believe me about my ear infection, you're an idiot. Refusing to show the medication. This is from May 1st of 2020. Now, for some of those hot takes. First things first, you know what, Phil? If you would, take a bath on the regular, that could probably help some of that. Secondly, if you would actually, clean and kind of sanitize and or sterilize your headphones, your earphones, your earbuds or whatever, not earbuds, but your earphones, maybe that would help too. I don't know, maybe if you just didn't act like a goddamn slob, maybe that wouldn't, maybe that would help. Now, at the same time though too, was there like a WWE Champions event going on around this time too that caused that situation to be a situation? As well, wasn't Nick Rekieta kind of getting on him a little bit? Or maybe not getting on him, but talking a little bit about his case around this time as well? Or was this around the time when the I don't know if this was when they had the Nick Rekieta stream with Agent Proper and LSB were on it, and they were kind of and they were going over the DSP lore, and then they were going over his bankruptcy and then his bullshit like that. I can't remember if it was around all that time or not, but I remember Phil ended up taking like a sick day off because apparently something that Nick, some video or stream that Nick put out really hurt our friend here, Porky Pig here, and he got really bothered by it. Can't remember exactly which part of that is. It's kind of all kind of scrambled together at the moment, but hopefully we can flush it out. But as him kind of pushing his way through this or whatnot, if he took better care of himself, it is what it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, some people are kind of just prone to having ear infections or whatever the case may be. But since Phil is this special type of exceptional individual who doesn't believe in taking baths, at least not every day, and shit, barely even every other day, I wouldn't be surprised. And just because he sits on his ass and plays video games, sweating it up in that office, by the way, doesn't mean in any type of way, shape, or form that he's clean or his hygiene is up to par. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that's even if he was really sick. You know what I mean? But let's go ahead and dive right in and see what else we can find. Oh boy, I miss this.
I also noticed that, you know how your ear canal was swollen. Like normally you could just, stick your pinky finger in there and you could feel it, it's fine. It was all swollen up and painful. And I was like, well, this really sucks, that this is happening, but I'm just going to ignore it. I'm just going to keep pushing forward, okay? On Sunday, my ear really hurt.
Really? It can't be. There's no way.
Like, my ear was getting stabbing pain during the course of the day, and I was really trying to ignore it. I was just like, oh my god, this sucks, this hurts, but, I'm really just going to try to
Wait, we have a guy here who can't even, he can't even ignore emotional internet pain. How can any of us remotely expect him to actually ignore an actual earache that's really, really bothering him and that he was probably nagging about throughout whatever playthrough he was on at that time? Really? Really? No. Sorry. That's just not what happened. It doesn't happen that way. You know what I mean? Phil tries to milk everything. He's very much a child. And don't get me wrong. And the fact that when anybody is sick, especially if you get sick really bad, we all kind of revert back to being kids to some degree, right? So that's a thing. But Phil is one of those individuals who takes that shit to... it goes from 1 to 100, quite literally, which is the fastest that anything he does moves. And so him saying that he tried to kind of muscle through it or he kind of tried to ignore it, well, that's part of the reason why you're in poor health in the first place. Now, don't get me wrong, given that Corona Chan is still a thing, he's not going to be able to... Well, he probably could. Nah. Unless it's like an emergency, like a real emergency, he can't really do anything. Now that I think about it. right, fair enough. So unless it's a real emergency, he really can't actually see a physician. I don't think. I mean, I'm sure he could do like the voice chat doctor type situation. He could do that, or the video chat type doctor thing. But I don't think other than that, he can't actually go and see a physician unless it's an actual emergency. With that being said, though, yet again, the ear marks, no pun intended, of this was probably happening for a couple days, if not a week or two before it actually hit him full blown. If he was actually just paying attention and whatnot, not trying to shrug shit off, he probably could have got it done. You know what I'm saying? He probably could have taken care of this and nipped it in the bud, I should say, before it was ever really a thing. On top of that, before this whole situation happened, if he would just go to the doctor on, at least to get a physical, you know what I'm saying? He could, yet again, it's just preventive measures. You know what I mean? Something that any adult who has the time, has the resources, and has any level of common sense would do. He doesn't have the common sense part, but he certainly has the resources. And he just won't do it. And it just came back to bite him. And yet again, that's if this is even real. If this is even a thing. You know what I'm saying? Which is one of the big things from going over a DSP lore that I've been doing recently, is you kind of have to question everything until you can prove it. You know what I mean? Because he lies about the most mundane shit that it makes you wonder, why would he do it? What's the purpose of this? What's the end game of it? And how much credence do I really want to give to him? You know what I mean? And even if you take it at its word, at a full-fledged, you'll still doubt yourself to some degree on it. You know what I mean? Because you'll go over another video later on, or a pre-stream, or an Ask the King, or a weekend preview that contradicts it, that will contradict anything that he's already said previously. Usually by days, not by weeks or months or even years, by days. Things like that. But anyway, let's continue. DSP News.
Write it off and say, whatever, I'm just going to keep playing games. And the thing was, when I was on stream playing games, it would actually distract me from the pain. So then on Tuesday, I wake up, and this is my, day to run errands and the like, and I wake up and my ear hurts so bad on Tuesday when I wake up that I feel sick. Like, my body physically felt ill, like I was gonna, vomit, because the pain was really bad in my ear.
Oh my God!
So I talked to a doctor, told him all my symptoms and everything, and they said, yeah, you've got an outer ear infection. You have every symptom of an outer ear infection, makes sense. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prescribe a medicated ear drop. And what you're going to do is 4 times a day, you're going to drop 3 drops of this into your ear. You have to lay down for about 10-15 minutes, let it soak into your ear canal and into the eardrum. And then do your best to clog up your ear for another half an hour or so, just so you keep the medicine in there. And he says it's going to be about a week's supply. You got to do this the whole time. Do not stop doing it if you feel better, because then it might not completely clear up and come back, which is the last thing you want. Okay? And they said, well, you're lucky, because where you live, in the state of Washington, we actually provide a service by which someone will hand deliver medication for you as soon as possible. But it costs more money, but we'll do it for you. And I was like, okay, well, how does it work? And they were like, it's $10 extra. Just give us your address, and then we'll let you know when someone could come out. All right? Do you want to play the fucking game?
Wednesday morning, I wake up, and I have, no lie, the worst pain I've ever had in my life. This is a tie for the amount of pain that I had with my...
Couldn't he have actually, well, maybe not him, but couldn't he have actually asked Kat to go to the store and pick up some ear drops or something, and try that first? And not to say that carrier service for medication isn't a thing, because it is. And maybe he is actually fortunate enough that it was able to get to him rather quickly. But why wouldn't you would think, as much of a cheap scumbag as Phil is when it comes to things that he needs to do, when it's things that he wants to do, he wants other people to pay for it, or he'll pay extravagant amounts to do it. But when it's stuff that he needs to do, he's very frugal with it, if you will. It's just cheap. Anyway, I'm surprised he just didn't, like I said, just ask Catherine to get him some off-the-shelf medicine. I'm really surprised that wasn't a thing, to be honest. Matter of fact, does anybody remember that DSP tries it when Phil tried that whole ear cleaner thing and whatnot? I'm bringing that up. It's kind of a moot point, but I'm just bringing it up to see if anybody remembers it. But yet again, with that silly piece of work, I'm just really kind of surprised that he just didn't send Kat to go to the store and pick him up something. Or asks her before she leaves her job to go ahead and, hey, can you swing by like the pharmacy section or the medication side and just pick me up something? Which is probably what actually ended up happening anyway. But semantics, though. Semantics.
Gout. We just had a troll in the chat. Celebrate Gout 100. So, har har har, Phil had gout earlier this year, and he talked about it publicly because he talks about this stuff publicly. He shares it, right? He's not ashamed. He's not one of these people who hides the personal shit about his life. He talks about it. And so I brought this up, and everyone knows that I had gout earlier this year, and I don't have it anymore. But they think it's like funny to bring that shit up. Look, another one.
Well, see, the thing is, though, is you do have gout. Like, you'll always have gout. What he's trying to say is he doesn't have any flare-ups at this moment. But he's always going to have gout. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's no cure for it as far as I know. You can only manage it. So it's not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? He's still stuck with it. So how are you going to sit there and say, oh, I don't have gout anymore? You're always going to have gout. You just don't have any flare-ups. And then, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, he had to change his diet and everything to prevent the flare-ups. So if you don't have it anymore, for example, why is it that you have to change your diet? Why can't you eat red meat every day like you used to do? Why aren't you allegedly not drinking as often? And why do you have to have cherry juice, the expensive organic stuff, right, with every meal? But you don't have gout. Something to think about.
Full gout. How is this funny?
How's the gout, Phil?
Oh my god, here's another one. How's the gout, Phil? Another idiot. This is
How's
great.
that gout?
When I woke up on Wednesday, yesterday, I had what felt like someone had an ice pick, and they had stabbed it into my right ear, and it was not going away. And this was constant. This was not, intermittent. This was constant pain. This was insane pain. And I never in my wildest dreams imagined that an ear infection could be that painful.
I was crying like where?
I was like, I have gout, and it's not this bad. Like, it feels that bad when you tweak it. Like, if my foot's swollen and I go all the wrong way, fuck, that hurts insanely. But imagine that constant in your ear. That's what it was.
And you know what? Some people actually at this point don't believe me anymore.
So as soon as I get the medicine, I put it in, and I'm holding it in there, whatever, and, no immediate relief at all. But I would say about 2 hours later, all right, I'm sitting on the couch in unbearable pain with my wife. And finally,
It feels like someone took the henna out of my ear. I was like, oh my god, the pain's gone. I feel like myself again. Now, I still have intense pressure in my ear, and yes, there's still soreness, but this stabbing pain is gone. Okay? Now, some people, it's hilarious, are going to make shit up and say, oh, that's ridiculous. How could it work that quickly? Well, it's because this eardrop they gave me not only...
Which is the reason why people call the reason why people are calling out his story. A couple of different things, though. So, he puts the eardrops in, and he's sitting on the couch with his wife, and then all of a sudden, the pain goes away. Now, even before that, he says he puts the medication in, and nothing happens. There was no immediate relief. Well, I'm sorry, idiot, but what medication do you take that gives you instant relief from anything? Nothing. Unless, you know what I'm saying, unless they're giving it to you in like an IV or something, even then it still takes a few minutes for it to kind of cut to the wick and actually start to work. So his understanding of medication and how it works is odd for a lot of different reasons. So that's the first thing. Quick relief is one thing. Immediate relief is another. 2, you're sitting on the couch with this stabbing pain with your wife, and then all of a sudden the stabbing pain is gone, but you still have the pressure, you know what I'm saying, you still have the soreness or whatnot, but you feel so much better. It's reasons like that, and it's just how Phil said it. It's reasons like that the doctor said, make sure you take the medication until it's depleted, or until the days are, the prescribed days are over with. And the reason why is because there's a lot of dumb people out there, ladies and gentlemen, and Phil is one of them. And because of that, because DSP, Dark Side Phil, Dark Geppetto, you know what I'm saying, is such a goddamn idiot, he's the type of person to take the medication for a day or two, convince himself that he's feeling better, and then throw it away. Throw the medication in the trash or put it somewhere and he's not going to remember. And then 3 or 4 days later, it comes back with a vengeance. And then he's on his floor squealing in the infant position, in the curled up infant position, and Cat looking at him like, the hell's wrong with you? So there's a reason why they ask, the doctor gives these type of directions to individuals, and well, to all of us, to be honest with you, because you do have very dumb people out there. And a lot of those people who are like DSP just want immediate relief, and then that's it. They don't want the hassle of continuing of starting the process and continuing it because, well, I already feel better. Why am I doing that? Just because you're feeling better, it doesn't mean that the infection or the bacterial infection or whatever the situation is gone. Just because the pain's gone doesn't mean the infection's gone. And yet again, someone like Phil wouldn't understand that because he doesn't go to the doctor. He doesn't get himself checked out. Who knows when's the last time he went to the doctor? Allegedly, when he found out he had gout. But then that right there is even under question because some people think he just had himself self-diagnosed. He like WebMD or something. Not to say that WebMD doesn't work, but you know what I mean? Like WebMD. There's not really sure if he actually went to the doctor, but I'm pretty sure he did because he did say he had medication. And then in one of the walkthroughs, that I think one of the bottles of gout medication was on the counter, or at least, or Panda may have referenced to it. So that's a thing in itself, but we'll save that for a whole nother day, a whole nother channel.
It has an antibiotic in it, which is what you need to clear the infection, but it also has, I believe it's cortisone or cortisol, basically an anti-inflammatory steroid in it. So it took a couple hours, but after soaking it into my ear, it made everything, the pressure go down, and so the stabbing pain went away. See? Things that never happened by Phil. Oh, yeah? Things that never happened? Listen. Fuck off. Fuck off. These things did happen.
What is the medicine called? I don't fucking know. It's like Nizapazapam, Kazabazapam, Cortisolabam. You know, it's like 3 names combined together in an eardrop. Why you think you have to look this up on the internet, I have no fucking idea. If you think I'm making it up, I'm not. And if you think so, fuck you.
Why are you so threatened by it? They're just asking you what the medication is. It's not that serious. And it's something that anybody could probably go and get anyway. Or be prescribed, I should say. So what's the problem? You know what I mean? Like, what's the issue? Unless, ladies and gentlemen, 1, this didn't happen, or 2, it's something that you can... his medication is something that you can get... off the shelf, you know what I mean? Like something you can just get in your local store, and he doesn't want to call that out because remember, Phil is a unique snowflake, right? He's above all of us. He's the one in the million. He's the exception to the rules. So he needs the medication that's prescribed by a doctor that he has to pay $10 extra to be delivered to him, either same day or the next day. He's not common like the rest of us. You know what I mean? That's why he looks at Walmart He looks at Walmart as a place for poor people to shop. Does anybody remember that hot take? I remember that hot take. Pepperidge Farms remembers that hot take. Wow, Phil. Wow. Being unique must suck. I have to say, I'm okay with being the common everyday person because being unique must suck. At least if you have to be DSP.
Taste on your lips, I want it all. A toxic dog have been under. You know that you're toxic. Ow. Taste on your lips is paradise. But I know that you're toxic. Unleash the beast. Toxic. Oh.
Unique and an exceptional individual.
One other thing I should say. So unlike the last time when I went to the doctor to get this anti-inflammatory medication and it wasn't covered and I had to pay $300, for some reason this time my medication was covered and it was only $25.
Of course. Sure.
So, go figure, in 5 years apparently my health insurance got better, even though it's the same.
Well, you always could. Well, I can actually speak on this because I'm in the process of going over videos over it. He talked about how bad his medical insurance used to be back in the day. So yeah, I guess, you know what I'm saying. And keep in mind, he kept rolling with it. He just let it keep rolling over each and every year instead of, or he just kept just renewing it on his own, instead of shopping around and trying to find something better because he didn't want to put the effort in. So he paid all that money for all those years, barely used it. When he was forced to use it, he complained about how it was so damn expensive for the visits. It was so damn expensive for the medication and or prescriptions. It was, it was a hassle to do all these things. But yet again, you can shop around for different insurance, or at least back then you could. You still can now. He just didn't want to. His own laziness came back to bite him in the ass. It is what it is. But here's another thing, though, that's starting to kind of now sink in. Phil hasn't said anything over the last few years, at least that I know of changing his insurance. So why is your insurance so much better? Unless you're under Catherine's insurance plan, which someone had DM'd me a while ago who had brought up that theory. And whatnot. Big ups to them. They want to stay anonymous. But big ups to them. So that might be a thing in itself as well. So maybe that's why it wasn't so bad. Maybe that's why, it wasn't so expensive. Which means that $10 carrier service might not have even been a thing either, when Catherine could have just picked it up on her way home. Or she could have just gone over to the store on that, I guess theoretically that Wednesday, because she probably would have been off anyway, to go and pick up his medication anyway. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going through the process of elimination. That's how we're gonna figure stuff out, right? Right.
I never really changed around the plans or whatever, but apparently it improved over the years, and now I can actually have medications that are covered. 25 instead of 300 is a good improvement. So that was very good. What I'm worried about...
That's also a nice reflection, too, if you think about it, because, 5 years ago, his income was better than what it is now. So the number can be high, because Phil's like, well, I was making all that money, and they want $300. Why are they price gouging me? But now that Phil's supposedly this broke boy bitch, oh, it's only $25, and, it's a lot better now. You know what I'm saying? They're finally taking it easy on your old boy DSP, on old Phil. They realize that I'm broke, so they're cutting me some slack. Not really.
Very honest with all of you, I'm worried that this is going to become an ongoing problem, because I've heard that people who get ear infections tend to get them as a recurring thing. This is the first major one I've ever had in my life, and I'm getting older, which means I'm more susceptible to stuff. And as you guys know, my respiratory system isn't great. Every year with these allergies, they kill me, and I end up getting my throat screwed up and everything.
Snort Burnell's right. That's definitely going to be one of the new excuses, but also that I think it shouldn't be ignored. This is only going to compound on that other mysterious ailment that he's been dealing with for years, that medical issue that he hasn't broken out yet. So this is just going to add to it. Keep in mind, though, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why he is in such poor health is because, well, he hasn't done anything to fix or change his situation. His sedentary lifestyle is his way of going about it, because, he doesn't want to aggravate or irritate his bad back. That same bad back that was magically and miraculously healed by the Seattle air, or that Washington air. You know what I mean? He was able to activate his latent mutant abilities and develop more baby backs around his bad back, to where now, he lives a life with less pain. Well, despite all of the 2 or 3 a.m. drinking, and the fact that he can't lift anything over 25 pounds without a hand cart. Semantics, though. Semantics. Remember, when him and Catherine go out shopping once a week, that's their exercise. Walking around the mall, aimlessly walking around the fairgrounds, or walking downtown, or just walking around the grocery store and carrying a couple of packages of water, or even half a gallon of milk, or a gallon of milk, whatever. That's exercise for Phil. It's a thing. You guys should appreciate it.
So I'm nervous now. What if this ends up becoming something I get once every couple months or something? That would really fucking suck. I don't want that to be. I hope that this is a one-time thing, but what can I do? Yeah, what I'd like to say is thanks to those who are nice. As always, you get the dichotomy. You get half the people who are really nice and are like, Phil, we understand this really sucks that you're in pain, and we want you to feel better, and we hope that you do. And then you got the insane, mentally challenged conspiracy theorists. And I do mean that, because no one would just immediately assume that everything I'm saying is a lie for some insane reason.
But you have a way of proving it, and you won't. You immediately went on the defensive when the talk of medication came up. If you were like, here, give me a second, I can go down and read it to you, or Maybe it's in his office. I doubt it's in his office. It's probably downstairs. If he just went downstairs and found it, right, and was like, hey, this is what my medication is, then so be it. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and skip a step, because I would assume that he was given email confirmation from his doctor, right, as well as from the delivery service that actually sent him or delivered him his medication. In his emails, it should actually say, hey, your prescription for such and such is going to be delivered on such and such day. Make sure you make yourself available for it, or whatever. So theoretically, he should already have that on his phone in his emails. But because he wanted to get onto the be on the defense, or get defensive about what the medication's name is, that completely throws everything that he said in the question. You would think for someone who's a pathological liar, as he is, he would understand that. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's a thing. Whatever. Semantics.
You're nuts, and you are nuts. If you think that shit, you are 100% nuts. You're an idiot.
Your hiring manager did a 100-bit cheer and said, why would I believe you about anything? When you lied about being engaged, you lied about the wedding, you lied about the cat, so how can I believe anything you say? Then don't. Who cares? I move on and stop watching me.
Like, I don't even know what else to say.
Now, that's an interesting thing to say, too, that I've been thinking about lately, is that if you don't believe him, then don't, right? No big deal, it doesn't matter. But then these are the very same people that he daily, and habitually asks for money from these people. It has to attach a story onto why he needs that money. I need that money to pay back taxes. I need that money to take care of my tax attorney or my bankruptcy attorney. I need that money to fight off overdraft fees. I need that money so me and Catherine can get groceries. So on and so forth. But if people are bringing your word, let's reword that. If people are calling your word into question, right, then maybe, just maybe, you should try to do something to rebuild that confidence. Or you could just be straightforward with them. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you can't tell them to just fuck off, because that's one less person that's contributing to the DSP poverty fund, or the poverty pot, if you will. You know what I mean? So, like, he's literally just shooting himself in the hoof doing this. And it's not like the pay piggies that he has now are going to be able to carry the proverbial day the way he keeps bleeding them. But then again, I'm also hearing that there's like a new whale out there and whatnot that I guess eventually got roped in. That's an interesting situation all in itself, but that's kind of still developing. But, I'm sure by now someone at Kiwi Farms has that whole shit locked up. Let's see, who is... I would assume Nigel. I would say Nigel of UKIP on Kiwi Farms probably has that locked up by now. Or if not, somebody does. There's a bunch of investigators over there. But yeah, like he would just, I don't know, if he just knew how to treat people. You know what I'm saying? Like, he exploits them for everything and then just wants to discard them, and that's it. It don't make any sense. It really don't. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you have a lack of people skills.
Completely nuts. Just the stupidity of the stuff that I saw on my Twitter feed yesterday was just out of control. The insane stupidity that anyone would think, alright, anyone would think that I would make this up. For what? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. Like, okay. Let's...
I mean, you've lied for less. Let's be honest.
Even for a second, entertain the insanity. Phil decided that he just wanted another day off, right? So he made up this entire thing, right? That makes a lot of sense, considering the fact...
Matter of fact, didn't he... Okay, bear with me on this a little bit. Does any of you guys remember back to late 2017, mid-late 2017, where Phil was basically running around here crying about he's alone and he's lonely and he doesn't have anybody and he has all these problems, so on and so forth. While in actuality, he did have a girlfriend at that time. But semantics, okay? But don't worry, it's going to get riveting. But he sat there and lied to us multiple times about not having anybody, being alone, so on and so forth. And then he had those random days where he's like, oh, guys, I'm on Twitter. And he's like, oh, I'm not really feeling too well, guys. I'm thinking about taking the day off, or maybe I'll stream later on the day, or whatever the case may be. I'm just not really feeling it right now, guys. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's his depression, whether he felt sick because he had drinking himself stupid the night before, or whatever the case may be. He's done that a couple of times during that whole, the after Panda saga. He ran around there acting like he was alone, like he was by himself, like he was so depressed, and he had all these problems that were weighing down on him mentally and physically. And in actuality, either he was just over drinking himself, which he ends up admitting later, that he was literally screwing himself, actually at the end of that year. Excuse me, into 2017, or it was either the Christmas of 2017 or the Christmas of 2018 podcast, he admitted that he was drinking himself stupid during that time that Panda had left him. And then, the financial problems and everything was a thing. And he was taking days off because he was so sick, right? Or he had all these issues that he couldn't bring himself to stream. So he kind of has already done that. He's kind of already has lied about minute bullshit to kind of get his way or to get an extra day off or so on and so forth. Now, with that being said, you guys are going to have to really dig deep for this. And those 3 or 4 times that Catherine came to visit him, right? I feel like, but don't quote me on that, I feel like there was at least 1, if not 2 of those visits that he was supposed to come back on a certain day, and at least once. And he decided not to. Like, oh, hey guys, I'm going to, my girlfriend's going to finally show up, or I'm taking vacation, maybe even before he announced he had a girlfriend. I'm going to be taking vacation for about 3 or 4 days, and so on and so forth, and then I'll be back. And 3 days ended up actually turning into 4 days because, oh, guys, I was thinking about coming back today, but I'm going to take an extra day off. You know what I mean? Just so I make sure I'm all fresh and everything for the stream the following day, or whatever the case may be, and whatnot. Or he has so much to do around the house that he's so exhausted that he's not going to need to take an extra day, or he needs a little bit of extra time to recuperate. So this isn't completely out of the question if you think about it. If you really, really think about it, it's not completely out of the question. And that's just one instance. I'm sure there's plenty of times that he came up with cockamamie type stories, right, of supposed dark side Phil Galtopian calamities to take an extra day or so off. This isn't anything new. It's amusing, but it's nothing new.
That we're on a 54 vest streak. Every day I've been here has been incredibly positive with not only the gameplay and the interactivity, but the contributions have been coming in amazingly. Yeah, it really makes sense in the midst of all that to just take a day off and lie and say that I'm sick. Like, are you fucking stupid? Of course I wanted to be here yesterday.
Actually, to comment on the SnortBucks quote that you had there about Nancy visiting the pig pen, given the climate, the current climate, if you will, I could understand why they would just go ahead and forego that. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it really worth putting other people in harm's way, going to this ass clown's house and shit to potentially try to recoup money that they weren't going to be able to get back? You know what I'm saying? Or at least not all of it. So, I mean, you could say in a lot of ways the public safety outweighed trying to go back and get Darkside Phil and all this on that $133,000 or whatever the case was that he ended up getting dismissed. I know it's kind of wild to think about it that way, but as Nick Rekieta has said, big ups to him, is that we're a nation that, we despise debt. So the government will side with you to some degree when it comes to it. He just dodged another bullet. Temporary, but he did dodge it.
I'm not dumb, alright? I know, and I totally understand, that I'm not going to be able to maintain this crazy amount of support forever. This is a very lucky thing. Of course, I would want to be here yesterday if I could. But every idiot on the planet completely making shit up, insanity, and their crazy, wild conspiracy theories, and I read it, and I'm like, I can't imagine being a person like that. Like, I'll be honest, when I was younger, I was a troll. I've said this many times publicly. When I was younger, in my early 20s, I was a troll. I trolled the shit out of the Street Fighter community, especially the West Coast players, who I felt were really elitist douchebags, and they thought that their shit didn't stink and they were better than everyone else. And I would go after them, I would make fun of their websites, I would troll them on forums, but never.
Wait, now let's talk a little bit about that. Because he makes it sound like it was just simple trolling and that's it. This idiot actually actually started up a whole nother website, essentially just manned by him, to troll a West Coast website where these guys were basically giving praise to their coast. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was basically a highlight. It was a highlight forum or a highlight website / forum for West Coast players. And he makes it sound like it was all just one big circle jerk, but in actuality, if you get a chance to actually look at some of the transcripts, if you can find it and whatnot, or if you can hear what they said on like SRK, for example, about it, it was really, well, some of it was about just kind of sharing information and tech. And then if they were going to develop like East Coast, West Coast teams, because around that time that was a thing, this was a way of voting on it amongst West Coast players on who they wanted to be nominated, as well as other things. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that all enclosed, or that all entailed. So let me get this straight. How is it that you have an East Coast player, Darkside Phil, the side that tried to wage war, so to speak, against the West Coast over a forum that ain't got shit to do with him anyway? And if his name did pop up, and I say if because I didn't see anything about anything as it pertains to that in any or any reference of it, if his name did pop up, it was probably because of the shit that he was popping off anyway. So essentially, he went out of his way to go ahead and fuck with people. That's not trolling, per se. That's just him being an asshole and wanting attention. And then when it was time to go ahead and live up to that attention, he went ahead and cowered in the corner or in the bathroom or wherever it was while other people had to talk him out of that fight. So let's think about that, because that's one thing he doesn't talk about with his trolling activities when he was younger. All the ass whoopings that were coming his way for that, and how other people had to pull him out of it. Don't believe the hype about Mr. Darkside Phil. I showed up to a coast all by myself, all my lonesome, had no help, had no backup, and was like, had 4 or 5 guys who were like 3 or 4 times bigger than me, staring me down saying, yo, we're going to beat your fucking ass. And he just stood there and was like, well, here you go. You know, go ahead, do what you got to do. Because that's not the reality. That's not the reality. And when you hear, or when you see how vindictive Phil was on those forums when people challenged him or when people overlooked him and so on and so forth. And when I say forum, I should say forums, because you have SRK, you have Capcom United, and you have Event Hubs. Like, when you see how bitter he is about what people thought of him, it only kind of makes sense. It makes sense why some people reacted to him the way they did, and more importantly, that shit wasn't trolling. He wanted attention. That's what he wanted. And they basically made him check his privilege. That's what that really came down to. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll talk about that at a later time. DSP News.
Did I go to the lengths and the crazy shit that these people say? It's like, with no substantiation.
Did I go to the links? You lost hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, on money matches talking shit. You challenged people to fights. Having a bunch of people talking on a forum or talking on Twitter, on Detractor Twitter, or whatever the case about your dumb shit is one thing. They're not running around challenging you to fights, dude. Which is what Phil did. So who really is batshit crazy if you want to think about it that way? And then on top of that, I would have to say, right, that at least if someone did challenge Phil to a fight, they'd have the fortitude to actually do it. Whereas Phil, he didn't. Someone else had to pull his ass out of those fights. Someone pulled his bacon out of the frying pan for that. He didn't fight those battles out on his own. Shit, he barely talked his way out of it. If crying in a corner is considered talking, then maybe. But other than that, other people had to step in for him. Just something to think about.
But anything of any facts, Phil did this, Phil did that. Did you know Phil did this today? Look, this must be true because Phil did... What? I'm laying around my house in excruciating pain.
Okay, where's the evidence? Present evidence of what
Yes, present evidence. You're supposed to be laying around your house in excruciating pain, but yet you're on Detractor Twitter and on Kiwi Farms? You're watching Detractor videos, listening to what people have to say about you? His words, not mine. That's basically what he's doing. He's paying attention to what all these people are saying, all these crazy conspiracy theories, all this excessive crazy trolling. But he's supposed to be in his home in excruciating pain. But yet you have time to look at Twitter, you have time to look at Kiwi Farms, and you have time to watch videos, apparently. One of the three, if not all of them. Semantics, though. Semantics.
Saying
Can't even move. You know, can't think, can't move. And these idiots have nothing better to do but sit around and literally just make shit up constantly. That's what, this is their life. This is their actual life. This is what they focused on, right?
And SnortBucks correct there. Just show us the medication then, and then you can put it all the rest. Just show the medication. Or at least, or if you don't want to show it, at least tell us what the medication is. But see, Phil wants to go ahead and feed the fire, right? We're throwing the proverbial bacon grease onto the open fire and shit to keep it all going. It's funny how someone who's like, I don't want the drama, I want to be a positive content creator, right? I'm only looking for positivity. I don't need all this negative bullshit in my life. Yet he continues to fan the flames for it. Whatever. It's a thing. Riveting, I'm sure.
Yeah, when I was younger, to some extent, did I do that with the Street Fighter community? Yes. But not anywhere near to the insano extent that these idiots do. You know, and maybe that's a symptom of the fact that now we have a much more connected online world with social media. It's so easy now to do it and get away with it. Back then, it was like, you know, most people still had in-person lives, and the online persona was kind of a minor thing, you know. So maybe now, because things have changed and advanced so differently in the last, 15 plus years, but holy fucking shit, guys. Like, it's just out of control, the stuff that people do. And I'm like, you know what? Truth of the matter is, there's nothing I can do about it, so I don't care anymore. Normally I wouldn't even notice.
I don't care anymore yet on my days off and during pretty much every day. He's slowly but surely reading about it and feeding into it. But I don't care anymore. So what is his definition of not caring? Because I would assume if you didn't care about something, you wouldn't engage with it. You wouldn't care to hear about it, see it, or anything. Not even a glimpse of piggy piggy curiosity would even come into play. If you don't care, you just don't associate with it. You can cut that from your life, if you will. Phil can't do that. He's knee deep in this shit. He needs it. He thrives off it. In a lot of ways, he's profited from it. But he don't care, though. Keep that in mind.
Yes. Because I be streaming. If I'm streaming, I'm not paying attention to nonsense on my Twitter feed. You know what I mean? Like, I got stuff to do, I'm busy. But it just so happens...
That's not true. He's checked Twitter while he's been on stream before. So, extra doubt on that.
I was at home in massive pain, sitting around. And I start to look into it. I'm like, these people are fucking grade A, certifiably nuts. And they...
Remember, sitting on his couch in excruciating pain, and then decides to look into it. But he doesn't care, though. And we're in excruciating pain. But he finds time, and his pain threshold is just high enough that, you know what, I can check Kiwi Farms and Twitter and YouTube real fast to see what this is about.
Do this every day. Like, this is a rare occasion because Phil's, not streaming. Let's tear him apart today. This is every day for them. This is what they think is like a use of their life.
Salud.
I wonder, and I really gotta say this. I wonder if these people realize they're going to pass away someday. Like, do you realize you have a limited amount of time that you can spend on the planet Earth, and then one day you're actually going to die? Because maybe if they actually were slapped with reality, they would realize that they should be using their time for something much better than the way that they're wasting it. I actually feel bad for these people, because one day they are not going to be here anymore. And how much time are they wasting of their youth on this insane, frivolous nonsense? I'm sitting here in pain with ear infection. They're sitting at home wasting their entire day circle jerking each other with conspiracy theories. Right? It's just insane. I can't get over it. But
I think he over-exaggerates. Well, we know he over-exaggerates. The amount of time that I'm sure anybody put into any of that, to be honest with you. Phil having an ear infection, I'm sure, was just a Wednesday for somebody. For most people. It's just a Wednesday. It is what it is. It's a topic and or a talking point in the life and times and failures of Darkside Phil. You would think he would understand that. And now bringing up the concept, oh, well, you guys know you're going to die someday, right? Yeah, you too. You too. I'm sorry, Snort Man. You're not going to live forever. You're more than likely going to end up, well, a lot of people say he'll probably outlive all of us. But, and actually, I mean, more than likely, he probably won't, to be honest. But that's neither here nor there. But at the end of the day, Phil, we're all gonna end up punching out sooner than later. Now the question is, Phil, is since you're so worried about the amount of time people spend on their hobby, right? What about the overall quality of life? What is your overall quality of life? Oh, well, we already know that because you tell us. Which is funny how we're all supposed to be these brain dead idiots, these sociopaths, these psychopaths. We're so obsessive, yet every aspect of your life is online. By your own fruition. You did this. And yet you're mad that people have an inkling to criticize and or critique it. And you're mad about that. Well, maybe stop talking about it. But you can't. Because that's the only way that's going to bring you attention. It's the only way that brings you money. It's the only way to make you feel whole. It's funny how, as SnortBucks had said earlier in this, karma comes back, double, right? Well, now Phil is in such a place where he doesn't positivity doesn't really even exist anymore. The money that he makes is essentially because of detractors, trolls, haters, and critics. He doesn't have anything positive, if you really think about it. So he thrives off this. He not even thrives off this. This is the only thing that can sustain him. Nothing else. A lot of people say, and they've said it for a long time, that, oh, if you guys stop doing content on Phil, he'll just fade away. You think Phil would let himself fade away? Yeah. Now, theoretically, right? Theoretically, you're right. If all of us as a collective stop making videos on Phil, Phil would fade away. But do you think Phil would let that happen? Think about it this way. When Phil does Minecraft Mondays, I don't think he does that anymore. I don't think. But when he used to do Minecraft on Mondays as a chill stream at night, there was always some type of drama or stupid shit that was popping off Monday night that led into Tuesday, his day off, and then he'd have something to talk about Wednesday. Do you think that was by accident? Do you think that was by piggy coincidence that it always ended up like that? Really? Did you really think that was all circumstantial? Something to think about. DSP News.
That's why most of the time I try not to ever look at it or focus on it. I just try to say, fuck it, I'm going to tune it out. I'm just going to put out my entertaining stream and hopefully have a good time with you guys. And, you got to get rid of that white noise, because how many people are there like this around the world that are just completely wasting their lives away because they're dumb? I just don't even know what else to say. Like, you got to be you're either an idiot or you're actually, like, mentally have something wrong with you to do this kind of stuff.
Okay, since you want to talk about mental illness, let's talk. So, your proclivity of shitting on wings, right? Don't you feel like you're wasting what precious time that you have? Wasting it on someone who you feel that is beneath you or has it worse than you? Why would you do that? Why would you feel the need to do that? What does shitting on wings get you, Phil? When in actuality, you're in the same spot. Actually, Wings is in a better spot than you, whether he's in a trailer, mobile home, whatever it's called. He owns that shit. I mean, granted, he ain't already paid for it twice over, but thanks, Mom. But he does own it. He does own 4 acres of land. What do you own, Phil? You don't own your house. You don't own the lot that it's in. You don't own your car. Shit, you barely own the clothes on Catherine's back. So what do you own? What do you have that makes you believe that you're above Wings? That you can go ahead and take shots at him whenever the fuck you feel like. But then let's go ahead and move to the other side of the spectrum. Phil says that he used to be a troll. He used to shit on other people on West Coast FGC players because he felt like they were entitled. He thought they had their heads up their asses, this, that, and the third. Why do you shit on PewDiePie, Ninja, Dr. Disrespect, Markiplier? Why do you go after those individuals? What did they do to you? What have they ever done to you? Let's go even further than that, so you guys can kind of get a taste of what I've been doing lately. Why go after iJustine and go after Toby Turner or Tobuscus? Why go after either one of them? Those two never did anything to you. They didn't do anything to you. They just turned out to be way more successful than you were. And you took shots at them multiple times for years. You don't think that was a bit mentally ill, if you want to go that route with it, Phil? You don't think there was something wrong with that? Attacking people who did absolutely nothing to you? Oh, well, because you had a criticism of them. Oh, it's your opinion. Okay, fair enough. If you want to go that route, then anybody who makes a detractor video on you in whatever iteration that they decide to go about it, is that not just having an opinion of you? A critique of you? A criticism of you? But you have a problem with it because there are more people that shit on you than agree with you. So those who shit on you are mentally ill. But when Phil does it, it's just an opinion. It's just a critique. It's just the way he sees it. Because he's the realest guy on YouTube and he's honest. You know Phil, he's honest. He's honest about everything. Just something to think about. Just something to think about. And all this pig psychosis that's going on here.
There's no other explanation. There's no actual intelligent person or mentally sound person who would act in this manner. And I just gotta look at it and be like, holy shit, this is just insane.
Now, mentally sound person, this is coming from a person, right, who lied about having a cat, lied about having a girlfriend, right, which makes him a thought. That makes him like a grade A thought, because there's a lot of chicks on Twitch who do that too. But, you know, that makes him a grade A male thought, right? This is someone who put out his ex-girlfriend / ex-fiance's medical history and whatnot, which essentially should be, I'm surprised that's not considered revenge porn, if you think about it. In California it is, but he's in Washington, so that's a different thing. But it kind of is classified as that. Or one could look at it as a form of revenge porn. Excuse me. This is the same guy, mentally sound by the way, who sat there and ran up every credit card he ever had, who gets paid and spends it on other shit that he wants instead of paying his bills and obligations. Can't be mentally sound to do that. And this is the same guy who either got 2, if not 3 business loans to prop up his YouTube channel. But he wants to talk about being mentally ill and mentally sound. And to finish off my point, this is the same individual who used to be on a cocktail of medication back in the day. Just to give you an idea how mentally stable he is. Just throwing that out there. If he wants to talk about mental illness, right, then let's talk a little bit about his experience with mental illness then. But he doesn't want to speak on that. You know what I'm saying? It's cool to call everybody else crazy until people look at you and some of the stuff that you've said and done in the past and people realize, well, damn, you're not exactly there either. Just throwing that out there. Mr. We living in a glass house on like 2 different platforms. Well, actually just in life in general. Everything about it was pretty much an open book.
Right? But, you know, it is what it is. As you guys know, I talk about it all the time. Nothing I can do about it. You know, they're going to continue to do their nonsense, whatever they want to do. And, I can't stop them.
The reason that I'm in the situation I'm in is because of the trolling that I've suffered, not because of my decisions.
So PW Dubs cheered again and says, I just asked what the medicine was, not that I didn't believe you. Yeah, but I'm not going to go. Do you want me to go to my bed? You actually want me to walk across my house to my bedroom? You want me to pick up the bottle?
No, I've already said earlier that it's probably in his emails. But now, and then I gave him the benefit of the doubt that it's possibly downstairs. But he doesn't want to walk out of his room, take 10 steps to his bedroom to actually get it, and then take 10 more steps back. So 20 steps altogether, maybe. And whatnot, to go ahead and tell them what his medication is. Because that 2 minutes, maybe 4, given as out of shape as he is so much of a deterrent that, and it's so much of a deterrent, and there isn't enough behind this case to make him try to clear his own name on a situation that he's bitching and complaining about so he can gain sympathy and make money off of. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense if you think about it.
It looks like a bottle of eye drops. You want me to pick this up and read you the fucking... Who fucking cares what the name of the medicine is? Why would you ask that unless you don't believe me? Right? Genius? Dinosaur didn't... Or excuse me, Dinosaur...
Now, this is coming from an individual who questions anything that he's essentially ever told online or that he's read online in the limited capacity that he's done that about anything just about. But when he's questioned upon it, you just call me a liar outright. Yet he's blatantly called other people liars for reporting things that turned out to be true anyway. And he's like, oh, well, I only went off what I knew. Or that's what it said, and it didn't seem right to me. Stop attacking me, guys. Can we just have a nice stream? What a coward.
Calling him Dinosaur. Whenever I see D-I-N-O without sore after it, I pronounce it as Dino instead of Dino. So Dinosaur cheered again. He said the stream chat's here for you. Twitter is not. I don't feel like the people here feel that way. I would say, here's the thing.
Half the people in stream chat are people who are here to kind of make fun of me. And I get that. And I understand that. All right? And there's nothing you can do about that. But at least it's not super malicious, insano, you know, mentally challenged conspiracy theory shit that only some nut job would believe, you know. So it is what it is. I can't, you know, change the opinions of crazy people, but I would say at least the chat here is here to have fun, and they're happy that I'm back, right? Some of these people on Twitter they would wish me dead if they could. Like, oh, I hope he dies today. And, you know, it'd be like, okay, that's just normal thought for them. You know, again, that's normal reasoning in their heads. It's okay to wish them.
Haven't you wished people to die in a fire, Phil? And in the broadcast coming up next, didn't you wish for people to go ahead and jump off a cliff? But he's crying about people on Twitter wishing him dead. Allegedly. Okay.
Someone dead. You know, I have people on Twitter directly wish I had coronavirus and I would die from it. I'm not kidding. Like, that's happened.
Wait, isn't Phil the same person who said that coronavirus was a nothing burger? Then he said he didn't care because it didn't affect him. Then he said, well, maybe everybody should just go ahead and get it so they can build an immunity. Then he said, this shit is starting to become a real inconvenience to me because some lady was buying up like 6 or 7 jars of pasta sauce and shit. And he was upset about it. Or maybe it was 11 jars of pasta sauce. Whatever. Right? Which, Phil, that's kind of interesting that you sat there and watched a person, or you stared at a person long enough to count how many jars of pasta sauce that they had in their cart. Some people would classify that as people watching, which isn't exactly the most stable thing to be doing, I guess. You know what I'm saying? If you're waiting for people to come out of an aisle, because, for example, if you can only have like 4 people in an aisle at one time, then that's understandable. But if you're just blatantly just sitting there staring at people and what they have in their carts, that's kind of wild. On top of that, why the hell would Phil care about how much pasta sauce that someone else has when he makes his own shitty pasta sauce that he has in his freezer? He makes that shit like 3 or 4 times a year. So why the hell would you care about what someone else is doing and what they're stocking up on? Interesting.
Oh, gee, thanks. Thanks a fucking lot. I'm a gameplay streamer. You hope I die from coronavirus because I stream video games. Thanks a lot.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Battleduck 9000 did a $100 tip and says, boom, I am invested.
Thanks for the money, stupid fuck.
And that's a 55 S streak already. We didn't even start yet.
Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone, just gone like that. In an instant, fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you.
Tourism Zone, please stop with the nonsense. No one's taking my game consoles. No one's taking any of my shit. Just stop right now. I mean it. If you believe that stupidity, you are so gullible and you believe the dumbest shit from the dumbest fucking people on the planet. You really do. I'm sorry, but like, why are you gonna propagate their nonsense? Stop bringing that shit up on my streams, alright? Stop right now.
The madness, ladies and gentlemen. The madness. Holy shit. I have missed quite a bit. I miss doing this too, but I've missed quite a bit in my in my absence. That's for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go into the second and last video that rounds out our broadcast. I'll see you guys in just a second. Holy shit. What the fuck?
This is how to play the game!
That is an epic fucking intro, dude. And I have to warn everyone. Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good? Dinner was good tonight. Chicken parm is the bomb. We had pasta, penne pasta, if you can believe it, with our homemade sauce. I only eat penne.
Oh boy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the second and last video that will round out our broadcast. Let's see. Snort Burnell, DSP, jump off a cliff if you don't believe my ear infection. New sub goal and 56 vest streak. This is from May 2nd of 2020, our current year of gout. Here we go.
Trust around here cheered, and let's see here. Okay, he wants me to put into context the clip of me telling detractors to jump off a cliff. Sure, here's the context. The context is you're banned from my chat, and I don't have to deal with your stupid shit anymore. There's the perfect context right there. It's really good context. Asking you shall receive, stupid. Okay. Fuck you. Seriously, I'm in so much fucking pain this last weekend and trying to hide it and put out good streams for you guys. And you have the biggest shitheads on the planet saying that I'm making it up and stuff. Go fuck yourselves. I don't care about you. I really just hope that you fucking find something better to do with your lives, because I just don't give a fuck anymore about stupid people. Like, you can go seriously jump off a fucking cliff if you think that I would make this up with the amount of pain that I was fucking in. Fuck off. Why am I toxic? More toxic, more toxic.
If anyone else would like some context tonight, be sure to let me know. I'm a master of context, if you haven't noticed.
Wow, he was quick to hide that, which is, you know, the coward's way out. So, I mean, we can understand that. The thing is, in truth, is at least at the beginning of that clip, you could tell he wanted to kind of say, you know, I wish you guys would just go off and die somewhere. And he caught himself before he said it. And then he used the jump off the cliff reference instead, which, to be honest with you, Twitch isn't going to do shit to him anyway. But what he should have done for safety, for safety's sake, I should say, that they could jump off a cliff in Minecraft or some shit instead of just saying jump off a cliff. Either which way. But anyway, he's fully protected, so it doesn't necessarily matter. Speaking of which, though, of some of the current nonsense going on Twitch, they have some type of anti-bully safety council going on over there now, or anti-harassment or whatever. Basically, it seems like Twitch's version of bully hunters without any real power. I'm anxious to see what kind of long-term effects that debacle is going to have. Because, in truth, at least from what I've heard about it so far, it's smoke and mirrors. Like, they don't have any real power. Because how do you regulate your boss? Those people, like, you got to understand, outside of one or two people that are on that council, they all work for Twitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they do this for a job or for a living or whatever. They can be banned off the site at any given time. They're not independent. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you work for these people and you think you're going to be able to regulate your own workplace? How do you think that's going to work? I don't know. That's just my opinion so far. I kind of want to do a video on that just because, yeah, it's a thing. That's just getting wild. And then the individual with the deer fetish or whatever that is exactly, that is somebody to be worried about. Not because they have a deer fetish or whatnot, but they're running around saying that I have power, you guys should be scared of me. That right there is an issue. And it's an issue that needs to be addressed soon before shit gets really fucking ugly over there. You know what I mean? Before it gets real ugly. Because we're already getting to the point where sponsorships are being attacked. Now you have someone who is in a false position of power over there, at least from what I see, over there on Twitch talking about people should be scared of me. And when you start getting into that mindset where people need to be scared of you, then you start expecting people to do things for you. And what exactly would you expect someone to do for you under those circumstances? Just think about that. You're in an environment which is literally a dog eats mini, mini dog world, right? Where everybody's trying their best to get a look. And there's a lot of streamers up there who are very, very desperate, who've only been streaming to like 10 or 15 people for the last like 2 years. Just saying. Just saying. And to add to that, like the situation with Alinity that kind of just came to pass, where she had to tell Twitch, she told Twitch to give her what she originally got a 24-hour suspension for that supposed nip slip. They gave her 24 hours, sorry. And then she told them to give her 3 days, and they did it. Since when does a streamer tell their boss to give them more days of suspension? That's what true power is. And whether she's, well, like I said, we'll talk about that. I'll get some stuff together. There's some clips of some videos that I want to get together, and we can talk about that further. But yeah, they need to be worried about that. That whole council thing is actually kind of a bit of a farce. There are people up there, real quick. There are people up there. There are some people up there that I think really want to do well and are looking at this as an opportunity to really change the landscape and make it better for everybody. The problem is people like that are going to get drowned out for people who have an agenda, and are willing to go as far as they can with it, beyond reasonable means. But we'll see. We'll see.
All right. So guys, we're up to $22 in tips, and we're just about to enter our second hour of Animal Crossing for the night. FYI, we're still quite a ways off from hitting the tips goal tonight, just saying. If we don't hit the tips goal, that's perfectly fine, but we do have a 55 vest streak. You know, we do have a 55 vest streak, and if you guys want to see it continue, feel free to contribute via tipping. Just throwing that out there. I'm not saying you have to. I'm not pressuring you. I'm just saying, if you want to keep the streak going, by all means contribute via tipping tonight to make it happen. All right? But if not, I'm not gonna be sad. I'm not gonna be ungrateful. You guys have been amazingly supportive, and even though obviously some people might be disappointed that it ended, I'm not gonna be, upset that we didn't continue this crazy ass goal that's been going on for so long. So, contributions are greatly appreciated. Contributions keep things going, and contributions are essential for my continued success. However,
contributions are mandatory, or not, excuse me, boy did I screw that one up. Contributions are not mandatory. I forgot the key word there. Not mandatory. I'm happy to just have you guys come by and, what a slip of tongue.
we just hit the vest goal.
Wow, you heard how his voice shaked? Now, I appreciate and I need your contributions to contribute to my ongoing success. So basically, begging is his job. Excuse me. And the more he can pull out of you guys, the more sympathy bucks he can pull out of people, shows how successful he is and will help him carry the day. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, even with the $133,000 that were $133,000 that was dismissed, you're really telling me that in another 10 years, when he finally gets his credit back, he's not going to screw that up again? Think about that. That's 10 years of him seeing a bunch of people continue to overlap him, not just in streaming, not just in YouTube, in life, right? Keep lapping him and overlapping him, right? And you don't think the moment he gets his hands on some credit or a loan or whatever the case may be, he isn't going to lose his goddamn mind and spur the fuck out? Especially since he'll be he's an old man now, but he'll be an even older man back then. Or pig. Or man pig. Or man roach pig. Whatever. You don't think he's not going to spur the fuck out when it comes to that? He will run his debt up and Catherine's debt up if she's with him at that long. If he can. It's a mess. And then at that point, there is no coming back from that. You think Phil has another, because he'll screw everything up over the span of another like 4 or 5 years, He's definitely not going to catch a bankruptcy twice. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how people think it's a win. I'm not seeing it. Like I said, it's really just, it's really him just digging his own grave again. Like the moment, and Phil's kind of said something similar to this, that every time he gets out of a financial rut, he gets back into another one. Same shit with this. It's all just a matter of time. And you guys all know the slogan over here. You guys all know the catchphrase. Give DSP, Darkside Phil, Dark Geppetto, Dave enough rope and he'll hang himself. If nothing else, he's been very, very successful in his life doing that. He did that in IRL. He did that in the FGC. He did that on YouTube. He's done it. He's come pretty close to doing it on Twitch. It's all he can do. It's all he's ever done and been successful at. Is setting himself back and fucking himself over. Why? I don't know. But it's a thing. So keep that in mind.
Well, thank you so much, Golden Nobles. That gets us up to 56. A 56 vest streak. Let me get the vest. Hold on. Oh. Alright, good. Thank you, Golden Nobles, very much for the support. Now, just a reminder, alright, if we double the tip skull, I put on the gunner glasses. This actually happened on the earlier stream today. I'm not saying it has to happen again. I'm not even trying to promote it. I'm just saying it's possible. There is a double tip skull if we hit it tonight.
I'm not saying this needs to happen again. I'm not trying to promote it. Yet he's saying, hey guys, give me another 100 and we can do the glasses thing. The glasses thing that really only helps him. Because he's the one with weak-ass eyesight. But I'm not trying to promote it though, guys. I'm just putting that out there. Not the putting it out there and promoting are kind of the same thing, but you know, semantics.
Just so you guys know, for the next hour, if you are tipping, you are still contributing towards a tip skull. Okay, guys? Ninstar Rude Cheers, so you said in the past the Chargers can't bother you because you live in a gated community. What happens if they bought a house in your neighborhood? Nothing. It's still a private community. There are rules here that don't allow you to bother others. And if you actually do break the rules and bother others, you can actually get banned from the community. So I'm not worried about it. And by the way, if that happened, and I actually found out about it...
Phil would have to... Phil would have to prove that those people are bothering him and or harassing him. 2, they don't ban you from a community. It doesn't exactly work that way. It's not like out and out banning you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, to do that, to remove you from their community, for example, or any community to any stretch of the imagination, you really have to do some really fucked up shit. You know what I'm saying? Some really fucked up shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've had friends who lived in neighborhoods who had people that were absolute fucking ass clowns. You know what I mean? Purposely blasting their music at all times of the day. Their kids used to shoot BB guns at other people's fucking doors and shit. Like wild crap. And homeowners association didn't do jack shit about it. You know what I mean? Like, wild shit. It wasn't until, at least in one particular situation, that they tried to light their front door on fire and shit is when they finally got them up and out of there. But even then, they tried to fight that shit. So, and they almost did. So trust me, it's Phil would have to go through a lot, and all he's gonna do is make himself go gray and paranoia before anything was to ever happen. And no one's gonna take it that far. The fear when you come out your door and you step to your car and you look up and you look across the street up at Phil in his window and you see him peeking over the ledge at you, I think is enough satisfaction for anybody. Pretty sure.
it, which I'm sure the moron, whoever did that, would publicly talk about it on the internet to try to brag like an idiot. I would be sure to talk to the condo association and have it taken care of, so don't worry.
That's funny, because if they don't show their face, then how exactly would you be able to find them? I mean, what, you think they were going to save their real name as that happens, Phil? How is that going to work? Or if they do it in like a text manner, how are you going to prove anything about anything? What house do they live in? On what side of the street do they live on? Do they even live on your street, or do they live a couple of streets over? How are you going to prove any of that? And it's funny because he said that anything he says really can't be used against him for anything, which is a lie, obviously, but can't really be used against him for anything malicious amongst like Twitch, for example, or so on and so forth. You're going to run to the homeowners association with a detractor video and say, yeah, this guy DSP, I saw this guy fucking trying to mow his lawn and shit, and he was I saw this idiot DSP trying to mow his lawn and shit, and he ran over his own sprinkler system. That shit busted up, slapped him in the face and shit, and he was crying, can't help, and whatnot. And I got videotape of it. So what? The homeowners association is going to look at you and be like, you're a goddamn moron. Hypothetical situation, okay? Hypothetical pig noses with that. It doesn't mean anything. If you're caught doing stupid shit, it's not going to mean anything to them. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the homeowners association's main priority is the community itself. Not the person in it is secondary, depending on the level or the levels of, if you will, as it pertains to threats or discomfort or whatever the case may be. Whatever. It is what it is. The guy's a fucking hermit anyway.
Lol.
Low-cow. I killed Phil Cheer. He said, why not lay the vest beside you so you don't have to get up every time? Because I'm hanging it on my chair. If I just leave it on the couch, that's kind of lame. You want it to be hanging so that way it doesn't get all, like not, you know, like a piece of clothing you hang. You don't want to just put it flat on a couch, right? I actually want to...
First off, that's a lie, because he has like an ottoman and whatnot. You've seen, I'm sure you guys seen it. He used to leave like his beanies and stuff on it. The first couple times of the vest streak, actually, I think most of the early vest streak, he used to have it just sitting on that. So that's the first thing. Secondly, it's a puffy jacket that they can only see the top part of it. So what are you trying to say? It's going to be wrinkled or anything? Who gives a shit? And then, and how many times since he started it, how many times has he actually watched that damn thing in, what, 70 plus, we'll say, times that he actually, you know, they hit the vest goal? Like, so who gives a shit? It's a puffy vest that no one can see with any real clarity anyway, because your camera's not good enough. So who gives a shit? What a mood point.
Hanger in here, but then I realized just putting it on the chair was fine, worked fine, so. Polish Frog now says, what if I put tier 2 tips goal on the leaderboard? I did that last week and people complained. They said it seems like you didn't hit the tips goal and I'm ungrateful, so I stopped doing it. So I'll make this abundantly clear to everyone here. Yes, there's a tier 2 tips goal, $200. If we hit it, I'll put on the Gunner glasses, that's a celebration.
So basically, he didn't want to have the perception that he failed at something. Oh shit. So he didn't want the perception that he failed at anything. So we keep it at 100, because this way, if he hits it, as long as he hits that 100, he doesn't care. No big deal. And then just keep drilling it into them that, hey, there is a $200 tips goal, there's a $200 tips goal. But if he doesn't hit it, he thinks, oh, well, the detractors can't call me out on nothing because the tip goal that's presented to you was hit. See, which is something that I've said on that, I've said previously, that he cares more about what the detractors think than anything and everything that pertains to the audience that actually gives him money, that gives him substance, that helps sustain him in his ongoing affairs. And that's rather sad, if you think about it. That's rather sad that the very people who come there day in, day out, try to give you emotional support as well as financial support, are literally second, if not third-class citizens. Yikes.
Thing I do, but I'm not gonna update the leaderboard because I don't want people to sit here and complain and whine all night. Okay. Beaches tipped me $1 and says, whatever happened to a slow beef guy? I have no idea. Slow beef? Was slow beef the guy who had beef with me because he had made, I think, I could be wrong, but I think slow beef was the guy who was the first guy to make a video making fun of my Metal Gear Solid gameplay. And at the time, that was before This Is How You Don't Play even happened. And so I took it the wrong way, and I took it as like this guy was really trying to steal my content and insult me and get laughs at my expense. And I really thought that was the video that spurned the whole This Is How You Don't Play movement. But later on, basically we had beef because like I basically called the guy out and was like, I wish he would just fess up and admit that he was the one that started the whole negativity against me, because before he made his video, there was almost no negativity towards me on the internet, and all of a sudden he made it popular to make fun of me. And he never took any kind of responsibility. Instead, he was always like, it's your fault for doing this and doing that and doing this and doing that. And basically for years we went back and forth. I haven't talked about the guy in 100 years, and I really don't give two shits about him anymore. As I've told you guys, my attitude to This Is How You Don't Play these days is like, I don't give a fuck, just do whatever you want with my gameplay. Just don't attack my personal life, you know what I mean?
I haven't gotten to that far. I haven't gotten that far yet into the DSP lore, but I look forward to once I get there. Why didn't you wanted him to fess up? Now, real quick, sorry, as I'm chewing on a gummy. This fetish that he has for people to apologize to him is already wild on some mental gymnastics, if nothing else. But okay, so Slow Beef creates something that eventually inspires This Is How You Don't Play. By allegedly, hypothetical pignosis, if that is actually the case, right? Slow Beef apologizing for that does what? Like, how does that actually change the course of history if you think about it? If Slow Beef does apologize. Like, what sense does that make? Like, what does Phil think he would be able to get from that? It doesn't do anything. So you're just going to use Slow Beef as the punching bag? Essentially that, oh, This Is How You Don't Play are bullshit, this, that, a third, but, it was Slow Beef's fault. He admitted it to me. Okay, so Slow Beef isn't even the one that's doing the This Is How You Don't Play. It's this guy right here. Or it's eventually this army of people who came later. So what, did you think Slow Beef was going to basically speak up against them on your behalf? That wasn't going to happen. Very strange. Very strange.
But I have no idea what you're talking about. Whatever happened to him, I didn't know who he was to begin with. I still don't have any significant reference to the guy. I've never seen a piece of his content, nor do I give a shit. So there you go. For Tourism Zone, no worries about missing the stream. You're here for the last 10 minutes. Yeah, actually, I'll be streaming for about another 10-15 minutes, everybody, just so you know. So last chance if you want to hang out and talk a little bit, you want to contribute, in any way, now would be the chance to do it. All right.
More money. I need more money. Yo, I do need more.
Like I said, they're literally second and third class citizens. They have a purpose. They serve a purpose, and that's it. They're not looked at as individuals with actual value, right? Unless they're serving a purpose, they're not useful. Uselessness, if you will.
Slip of the tongue, Freudian slip. I do need more money.
Spurger King Whopper Cheers said, I understand having supporters over to smoke blunts would be a logistical problem. Maybe you can give away subs or do multiplayer with True Fan. I can't give away subs, that costs money. I'm in the hole, I can't give money away. Multiplayer with True Fans? The problem is I don't really play multiplayer besides Street Fighter. Very rarely have I found a game that I really
So
enjoyed.
basically just say no to both and just move the fuck on. That's basically what he did. He basically shot the guy down on both points. So don't give us this roundabout story on bullshit. You obviously don't give a fuck about your community outside of what they can do for you. So giving them anything without a price tag that they have to pay is erroneous, to say the very least. It's not possible. It's not plausible for Darkside Phil to be able for him to comprehend that. As it pertains to doing multiplayer, he doesn't like any of you. So why the fuck would he want a game with you? When was the last game that Phil actually played that was multiplayer? Apex Legends, I think? And that was with Tekken and Brian. And he got butthurt because Tekken and Brian were starting to outshine him. You know what I mean? Especially Brian. So after that, he was like, nope. And he shut all that shit down. And true fans, he knows who his true fans are. The ones who give him money and don't say anything else. I'm not trying to shit on the guy who made the comment. I'm just trying to put things into perspective.
That I would want to play any kind of extended multiplayer with viewers. I used to do it, and then basically two things happened. Number one, I just didn't like the games that coming out anymore. Number two, too many trolls tried to get involved and ruin those events, so sadly it's really not something that's going to happen. So we got a few things to talk about today. First of all, you may notice at the top of your screens, we do have a tips goal here for the month of May. Excuse me, not tips goal. Boy, let me try that again. We have a new subs goal for the month of May. I completely said the wrong thing. We did not have a sub goal for the month of April. Reason being, at the end of March, we had quite a few people come in and were very generously gifting subs so that we could hit the tier 2 subs goal for the month of March. Well, we hit it, but I knew that we were going to see a significant decline in subs by the end of the month, which we did. We saw about 100 to 150 subs vanish at the very end of April there. But now, we are working on a new sub goal for the month of April. Alright, what is it? It's very simple. It's the thing you guys pretty much like the most. When we do this, it's the retrospective event. Alright, the last retrospective we did was at the end of February, over 2 months ago. And what we'll be doing is working on this month, trying to hit the subs goal of 725 subscriptions.
I told you he was going to regurgitate that bullshit, because it's the only thing now that he really has. To be honest. He doesn't want to do anything else that will require him to interact with people, that can't actually profit him in some way, shape, or form, to be honest. And as I also stated, I think he purposely uses the retrospective. Sorry about that. Give me a sec. I think he only uses the retrospectives, to be honest, to weed out content that he feels detractors can use against him. I think that's like one of the number one priorities of the retrospective. Well, number two, because the retrospective is supposedly reactionary content that's just fluff and lazy and it doesn't require any actual skill or talent. So womp womp to that. Number two is the weed out detractor content or potential detractor content. There's my thoughts though.
Can hit that, then what's going to happen is people are going to be able to start nominating their favorite moments from my now almost 12-year legacy of creating content on the internet. All right, and they'll be able to post those up on my forums. I'll go through them. I'll pick, some of the best ones and use that as a guideline for the new retrospective event that'll be coming up. All right, you guys really like the retrospectives. Every time we do one, people come out in droves to watch. People really tell me those are some of the best things that I do. And, at this point, it's been over 2 months. You figure with this month of hitting the subs goal and then people nominating, it'll be another month before this even happens. More than likely, this would happen in June. Okay? So, pretty cool. So, hopefully, things are going to go well with this. So far, so good. Yesterday, I was able to stream all day. And thanks to everyone who came out yesterday. I know that it's weird when I have a day off out of nowhere that I'm not expecting. And I know that you guys are upset when I'm not here when I want to be. That's life. It happens. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for your support yesterday on the streams. I really do appreciate that. All right, as you guys can see, the vest streak continues at 56 straight streams where we hit the tips goal. And I put on the vest to celebrate. Will it continue again today? I have no idea. We'll find out. It's up to you guys. Again, like I say, I know eventually it's going to end. It cannot infinitely continue. But at the same time, I'm super happy that it is continuing. I'm very grateful. You guys are helping me out a ton, and I thank you so much for that. We'll see what happens today.
This is the year of the cheap cash grab. Blatantly milking for money.
Excuse me. Tipping me. Okay? Tipping me is by far the best way to contribute to my streams. Why is tipping me the best way? Number one, because when you tip me, those are funds I get immediately and I can put towards something important. Whether there's a bill coming up, taxes, I need to buy a new game, health insurance, groceries, things that come up from time to time, anything.
Wait, so doesn't Phil tell us that he doesn't do this for money like other streamers do? He does it because he's passionate about gaming and sharing his experiences. But then he says one of the ways that you contribute, or the best way to contribute, I should say, as he said, as he snorted, is that to tip me. And then raffles off all the things that someone who was doing this for a living would use those proceeds for. So then you are doing this for money, obviously, because you spend it on things that people who have a job or career would spend those proceeds on. But then why do you go off and sit there and say, oh, I don't do this for money like other streamers do? You mean, are you saying that those other streamers make so much money that everything sorry, let's reword that. Are you saying that streamers only do this to pad their pockets even though they're already rich or they're already successful? And in turn, they're just taking more opportunities away from the little guys like yourself, which is only hurting you in the process and other streamers? And you basically do this because you have to, but because of your circumstances is different from their circumstances, that you actually feel genuine about what you're doing, and all those people are just here for the cash grab. Now, I bring all of that up because something about that triggered me with a recent video that I did over the Toby Turner situation, and how Toby Turner had a successful vlogging channel and then decided to move over to gaming. And Phil was like, he's not a real gamer. He's soaking up my fan base. He's stealing my views. And that's hurting me. And that's hurting other people like me because he's already successful, right? Why does he need to come over here to gaming for free money? He's kind of just twisted it from his 2014 narrative, which is when the Toby Turner beef happened, to where he's at right now in 2020. Just something to think about.
That could possibly pop up. Your tips pay for that, basically, okay? Because those funds are there immediately. I can use that immediately for something very important, all right? Now, in addition to that, all right, the other reason that obviously the tips are the best way to contribute is because we've been doing this crazy tips goal. And it's 56 straight streams that we have hit the tips goal. All right? Pretty crazy. Pretty damn nuts.
As I said, if we hit 100 streams where we do the tips goal in a row, I'll definitely do something special. What will it be? I have no idea. Give me your money. Yes, do it now. Do it now.
Someone tipped me $1 and said, hey, DSP, fun fact. Did you know there's medical terms to describe your lunatic detractors? It's pathological skepticism. It's sometimes referred to as pseudo-skepticism. Keep up the good work, homie. Well, there you go. And I'm assuming what that would mean is these people literally think every single thing I say and do is a lie. It's crazy, obviously, but they just, by default, always think that I'm a liar. So, you know, I'm in excruciating pain on Wednesday. It feels like there's a knife in my ear all day long. You know, very, very nervous about what's going to happen. Waiting for these meds to arrive. I start medicating my ear or whatever. I tell people, sorry, I can't stream. And immediately, here come the insano conspiracy theories about, you know, what's really going on behind the scenes. Yeah.
You're nervous about medication that you already know is coming because you just talked to a doctor about it? What the fuck are you nervous about? And if you were so damn nervous, right? Why didn't you just send Catherine to the pharmacist at, you know, her job and just get something either over the counter or just get something off the shelf? Off the shelf is really what I'm aiming for. But he's so nervous, though, right? That's funny, because in the first video of this broadcast, he didn't say anything about being nervous. But now, all of a sudden, he was nervous about it. We got to build up some suspense, right? For Dark Side Phil and his ear infection. Fuck out of here.
Of course, I completely fabricated the whole thing, right? So, it's pretty stupid. And yeah, it's nuts. I know they're nuts. We don't need to discuss them at length. It's just interesting that there is a...
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the same person who had to admit later on, right, that he had to lie about certain situations to protect his family, right? So, who's to say, ladies and gentlemen, in like 3 or 4 months, someone brings this up and he said, oh, well, that didn't happen, or I don't remember that, or whatever the case may be, and then that turns out, this whole ear infection thing turns out to be a lie, too. There's a very good reason on why people don't take Dark Side Phil, DSP, DSP, Dark Geppetto, and whatnot, Dave, at his word, or at face value, or snout value, if you will. There's a very, very good reason for that. He's proven time and time again to not be a trustworthy or a truthful person. He'll lie to you to get over on you financially or emotionally or whatever other way he can dream up. And that's just his nature. It's just what he does. And he's never going to give that up. Ever. It is so much easier for him to lie to you than to tell you the truth about anything and everything. Just like how April 1st of 2019, oh, there's no way we're going to be able to get married. You know what I'm saying? Just can't happen. Then like April 10th, I guess, is when they actually... And then April 10th, him and Kat got married. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't believe him for shit. There's no reason to. He's not worthy of it. And the reality is one day, he's going to get caught up in a real messed up situation where he's really going to need people's help. And he's going to have no choice but to tell the truth. And still nobody will believe him. Or most people won't. And those most, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, are going to be the people that he's really going to need to come through. And it's not going to happen. Because remember, he had to lie to all those times to people to protect his family. One day, his family is going to be on that chopping block. God forbid, I won't even name a situation. I can think of a few, but I'm not going to name a situation. But God forbid, somebody in that house is going to be in a real bad spot. And Phil's really going to need to beg his little piggy heart out. He's going to really need the help. And it's not going to be there. Or at least not all of it. And he's going to be stuck holding that bag. And everything else, and whatever fallout that comes with that. So by proxy, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm doing is pushing this, I guess you could say, this new narrative. That as he's putting the noose around his own neck, and as you give him more and more slack to hang himself, sadly, he's going to hang anybody else that's associated with him too. Those people are going to hang as well. And that's a very, very harsh thing to say. amongst the many harsh things I'm known for saying. But that's something that we also need to take into consideration. Unless Kat gets out with Jasper, she's kind of at the financial woes and whims of any and all fallout. Just throwing that out there. DSP News.
A term for it, pseudo-skepticism, or pathological skepticism. That's interesting. Now this is hilarious. The Truth tips me $3 and says, am I responsible for the lies John Rambo said about me because I employed it? Well, here's the thing. During the time when John Rambo and I were collaborating on content for the internet, and I was paying him weekly for his contributions, during that time frame,
First, you only started paying John after he asked to be paid. And he didn't actually ask to be paid. He asked, do you feel that I deserve a piece of our proceeds, a piece of the profits off of what we do? That's how that conversation came about. It wasn't like, hey, John, you're doing great work. I'm doing great work. The channel's doing great and whatnot. Let me go ahead and cut you in on this. You know what I'm saying? Because you're already contributing to the channel. Let me go ahead and let you and now give you some of the proceeds of that and establish that. He didn't do that. John didn't ask for that money till years later. Because Dspgaming, Darkside Phil and King of Hate HD, and essentially the whole DSP brand was not a one-man thing. John was there from damn near the beginning. So the moment that this shit started to become, started to be monetized, theoretically, on his King of Hate HD channel, the vlog channel, right? That vlog channel that he made his first YouTube money off of, but he never really tells you about that. He only says, oh, I never made $1 off of any of my gaming content until after doing this for like 3 years. He don't tell you that his vlogging channel, which he started, was always making money. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, oink, oink. Where was John at and his proceeds on that? Because I think Smart Guys was on that channel, as well as some of the other vlogs and stuff they did. Where was John's proceeds and pieces of that? That's the first thing. Secondly, you say that John was so handsomely paid, right? But then if you actually look at the timeline, when you said that you were breaking John off at half, and then you couldn't, then all of a sudden Machinima wasn't sending you financial reports to tell you how much you were making each month off certain videos. So now you didn't know how to cut the money up. Now, any other person, right, would be like, well, John, you're my friend or whatever. Okay, dude, we'll keep the money going the way it was. You know what I'm saying? We'll do it that way until I can get this worked out. Right? Now, let's freeze frame that for a minute. Let's go back. Let's rewind for a minute. He said that Machinima stopped sending him reports. He never said that I was asking Machinima to continue to give me reports and they wouldn't do it. He just said that Machinima stopped sending him reports. Very important. That's a very important point that we should hold on to. Okay, now let's go ahead and unfreeze and move forward. So since I don't know how much I should be cutting you in on, what do you want that's fair? And John had to make the decision yet again that, okay, give me $100 for every time I come up and whatnot. And because, that covers gas, wear and tear on the car, and food, which in actuality, it probably barely covers all of those things, but so on and so forth. John was being a good friend about that. And then that's essentially it. And I would assume that if John's only asking for $100 every time he comes up, and he was coming up either every weekend or every other weekend, right? That means he's only walking away with $200 to $400, which I would assume is in stark contrast to how much he was handsomely being paid when they were actually splitting the proceeds when Phil had the reports. Unless Phil was lying to him about what those reports said and how much he was getting. And Phil was starting to realize, I'm giving John a whole lot of money, and I don't really feel... I'm the one who's doing the majority of work that when he ain't here. He's only here on the weekends. I'm the one that's doing this Monday through Friday. I don't think he deserves as much. Hypothetical pignosis here. I'm not saying, or I should say this, I don't know that Phil said that and or thought that. Hypothetical pignosis, though, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking that happened and whatnot. And this, and to be honest, given Phil's penchant for not wanting to pay what he owes, even amongst his own bills and or obligations, that kind of fits right. That's not necessarily a Theo theory. That's not exactly a Theo theory. Big ups to Theo. But it could be a thing. And that right there is the first time I've ever put a hypothetical pignosis and a not exactly a Theo theory together to make one thing. Yay for me. Yay for me. So that's a thing. So let's not act like he was doing the right thing from the jump. He wasn't. He wasn't. It'd be different if he wasn't making any money of this and whatnot, and people were just contributing to it. That's one thing. But he wasn't. These were people that were helping him, friends or people on the internet that were helping to contribute to something to help him build something. And while he was reaping the financial benefits of it. Just throwing it out there.
It could have been said that I was responsible for things that were relayed via that content, you know, or also, you know, not every word out of his mouth, of course. He's an independent individual who's allowed to say and do whatever he wants. But in regard to saying stuff about me or my content, yeah, during the time that we were working together, that's a true fact. Absolutely. But after the fact, you know, it was, keep in mind, almost a year and a half after I moved, that it was finally revealed that Rambo had some kind of issue with me. That's completely different. At that point, there was no contractual obligation between us. He was no longer being paid by me for any content. You know, his comments were 100% his own and had nothing to do with me. So no, if John had come out while we were working together and I was paying him and it said, oh, Phil's doing this behind the scenes, it's a big leak because Phil's doing this stuff, right? Yeah, then I could kind of say, wow, shame on me for employing someone with loose lips and who's out there, you know, flapping.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm not liking the way this sounds. Wait. Employed somebody? You didn't employ anybody. John was your friend and you were collaborating with each other. Collaborating or collaborations and then employment are two separate things. Which leads to this thing that I formed on that channel that we don't talk about. I talked about it a little bit over here too. It's been a while, but I've talked about it over here as well. About when Phil wanted that office space in 2013 while he was still living in Connecticut, and how essentially he was going to have John and Howard and probably OJ and whoever else come over there and actually work for him and to put out all this content and make all this money or whatnot, though Phil was probably not going to pay them. Phil was basically using his friends as free labor. It wasn't even pro bono work. It was just out and out free labor. Under the excuse me, under the guides that, oh, we're all friends and you're just helping me out. Because, ladies and gentlemen, he's not employing his friend here. Because if he was, he'd be paying him a consistent wage. And he wasn't. Even if you want to call it independent contracting, that means there's a contract between the two of them, or at least a set amount that's been agreed on within reason. That's not what happened. You did have, and there was never a contract, first off and foremost. This was all based off friendship and essentially a handshake type deal. But then, when Phil allegedly, after so many months, couldn't get Machinima, or Machinima stopped sending him reports, then all of a sudden, he just took whatever lowball number that John threw at him. Now, something that G Money pointed out to me a long time ago, big ups to G Money, is that the videos that Phil and John did and that are on the channel, those make money every day no matter what. So if you think about it, sorry, let's put that back in perspective. Every video that John and Phil have ever made makes money and continues to make money every day. But Phil is only paying him essentially by the project or by the month. And that's it. So what happens to the proceeds from the next month and the next month and the next month? Where's John's residual percentage from past projects? He didn't get paid for that. He got paid pretty much by the job. So Phil is always going to be reaping the benefits, and which means that Phil walked away with the lion's share of the money. John basically got undercutted from the hop. And then as we know with OJ and Howard, they didn't get jack shit. Just something to think about. So when he said employee there, I want you guys to take a very strong, well, not strong, not even very close, but I'd like to just put that into perspective on what he actually thought of these people. what he actually thought of John. It's a friendship of convenience. The convenience is, I'm going to profit off you, and you're not going to say anything. And if you do, I'll throw you some scraps. But don't say nothing else to me. Just smile when you see me. Which is what led to the animosity when John and Howard showed up to Phil's condo that one time. And many times I should say, saw all those stupid ass statues, buying all this extra shit, and then they see that brand new BMW pulled up out front. Even though pig lore is, it was an El Cheapo model, supposedly. But that new BMW parked out front. Just something to think about yet again.
And now people know everyone's personal business, or maybe even spoil. Imagine if we were making Project 7, and John had revealed the whole plot of Project 7 before we had even put a single piece of content on the internet. You see what I'm saying? That would be a similar situation to The Last of Us 2 leaks, right?
No.
But no, John going out of his way a year and a half later to basically talk crap about me on the internet has absolutely nothing to do with that. It's not a similar situation, so you have no idea what you're talking about. But I thank you for the $3 tip regardless. Very different. Overladen Prince did 100-bit cherry, says, wouldn't it make sore sense to ignore it all? They get their jollies from messing with you. Yeah, and Overladen Prince, I do my best to try to ignore it all. I really do. I do my absolute best to not...
Can I actually say something really fast as it pertains to The Last of Us 2 leaks? I had the most nagging feeling. The most nagging feeling that Last of Us 2 was gonna be screwed up. I didn't know how exactly, but I had just a really nagging feeling that it was gonna be bad. Not because something that I saw in any of the trailers or anything on Twitter or whatnot. It wasn't that at all. It was some random clip of the guy who created Last of Us 2 and whatnot, and he just kept name dropping Anita over and over and over again. I'm thinking to myself, I don't remember her being tied to that project at all. I don't remember her being tied into that. I don't remember that at all. She definitely wasn't part of the first game. And the more he kept saying it, the more it just kind of kept, like, I don't know. I think I dismissed it early on because I was like, there's no way that that's something that probably one of the best games of our time, keep in mind, would be that anybody would let anybody come in and taint that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they had a good formula. If they build upon the story, the damn thing damn near writes itself. Like, there's no way they'd fuck this up. And then when the leaks came out, and then people started then when Anita's name got thrown into it again, and then people started going back and finding how after the success of Last of Us 1, she immediately clamped on that dude and was like, the second part right here, I want to give you feedback and this, that, and a third. I was like, once we saw the leaks, I was like, oh. I was like, wow, that shit was damn near DOA on arrival. Now, at the end of the day, if it's something that you still want to support, then you should still go out and support it. If that's what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? That's completely up to you. I think that, because don't worry, I won't say anything here, but by now I'm sure all of you guys have already heard it. But I gotta say, it's 2020 has been a really fucking shitty year, and we're not even halfway through it. And I say just chalk it up as another casualty of war for 2020. And it's another piece of collateral damage. You know what I mean? And then that HBO show that's supposedly supposed to come out of this, who knows where that's going to come out? Because I was told that HBO series was dependent on how Last of Us 2 does. Maybe they'll still do it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'll still do it. Maybe it's already done and they're waiting to release it. Who could say? I know I certainly can't tell you at the moment because I don't know. But that's going to be rough. That's going to be very rough. If everybody thought that was going to be that Last of Us, the Last of Us series was going to be like the first 3 seasons of Walking Dead, or going to be like early Game of Thrones, I think you guys are going to shit, or even Rome early on. I think people are going to be somewhat disappointed, but we'll see. Like I said, we'll see.
Specifics of shit that people are saying and doing about me, because every day there's something new. That's the thing. Like, every single day there's some new bullshit, some new drama, some new baloney that I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I don't really care. Okay, you're right. The best course of action is to just ignore it and just keep putting out my positive streams and not give a shit about what they're doing. And that's what I do my best to do. Every once in a while, something will come up and I will address it. But in general, I try to just ignore it. And as you hear, I just talk in broad generalities when we are going to discuss it because they don't deserve the time of day to even have a single person know what the fuck they're doing over there with their shit because they're shitheads.
Is there travel. Did people say anything bad about me in the last video they wanted to address?
Yes, they said that you're a gay boy. That we're gonna make love to each other tonight because we're in the same hotel room, even though we're on 2 completely separate beds.
It's people's fantasies coming out.
That's right. It's their gay fantasies.
What they wanted to see happen.
That's right. Like they always wanted to see. Oh
my god.
Jacob and Edward make out. Well, they want to see.
It's us now.
It's us. We're the next gay
People
fantasy
are home
couple.
and they think that, and they fantasize and they enjoy, enjoy themselves.
That's right.
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
All right. So just so everyone knows, John is okay if you want to have gay fantasies about him. He's now publicly admitted it.
Perfectly fine.
I have an issue with that, and I would not like you to think about me in that way. But John would like you in his Superman PJ pockets and naked feet. So now everyone with a foot fetish can get off because you see John's naked feet on the
I
bed.
don't like anyone to do it.
Oh
Just
my
say,
God.
If you decide to do such a thing,
that's great.
That's awful. That's not fine. How dare you?
I wouldn't be
Oh my
comfortable
God.
hearing about it.
Do not defile my image in it.
Actually, so a couple things. I don't know how them being on separate beds means anything of anything, but okay. I mean, Phil, do your parents sleep in the same room but in separate beds? Was that like their form of contraception or whatever? Whatever. Anyway, birth control, if you will. Secondly, if I can't remember it was probably Tevin's stream. Let's be honest. Praise be. I would I think he went over some old vlogs, and Phil himself is known for filming people's feet when they're in the hotel room and shit. So Phil himself may be the one with the foot fetish, because he does that pretty consistently and whatnot. I didn't think about it too much when I saw Tevin's stream. I was just kind of laughing at it and going about doing what I was doing. But now that I'm kind of hearing it again, at least some of it, it makes me think, well, maybe Phil's the one with the actual fetish instead. And he just tried to project it to other people because, Phil's good for that. Right?
Anyway, how dare you people?
No, they should go out and act upon it, by writing on the comments. But if you have these ideas, that's
I think I'm gonna have to end this video now because I don't like the way it's going, John. What did you do?
Keep it to a private point yourself.
Okay, so we'll be back later. Now you're all gonna have gay thoughts about John because John condones it.
These things happen.
Oh my God.
Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone, just gone like that. In an instant, fucking gone. I just care about money. I just can't help it. By eBay. Contributions are mandatory, but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you.
Oh boy. Oh boy, this has been fun and whatnot. It's been a while. I'm completely out of practice, but this was fun. I gotta say, this was really, really fun. A lot to come back to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give me a second to clean up and whatnot, and take final orders, I suppose, and whatnot. Oh, that's right, we're not really open yet. Well, I guess I'll make my drink then, I suppose, since at least I'm still available for it, I suppose. And then we'll reconvene for final thoughts. We'll see you guys in just a second. I'm just joking. I'll take whatever. I'll go ahead and take whatever drink orders you guys have with what little we have here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Fun stuff to be had. All right, so first and foremost, thank you very much to Burnell. Very much appreciated. Wow. Okay, so for someone who was telling the truth about the situation with the ear infection, right? Excuse me. Who's telling the truth about this ear infection that's supposedly killing them and had them in excruciating pain for all these days. We're very, very upset to where we're telling people to jump off cliffs and so on and so forth over it. Just throwing that out there. His story doesn't come across completely unplausible. It's a small and a very simple question. And the way he reacted to it gives people the impression that you have something to hide. And Phil Burnell's a liar. He doesn't have anything to hide. He's just a liar. Well, that's kind of contradicting. He does have something to hide, but it's usually something we're going to figure out anyway. But he's still very much a liar. The situation with John and the whole employment thing, that rubbed me wrong. That rubbed me wrong. But it also kind of gives credence to what people have been saying about Phil and in a lot of ways, the dynamic of his friendship with John and Howard. I know I've certainly been saying it, that they were merely pieces on the board. You know what I'm saying? They were props. They were there merely to be exploited and whatnot. And I think what happened is he couldn't get Howard as invested in him as he could with John. And there you go. So that is what that is. Speaking of which, for all of you guys who are from that special club that you guys know about, I will eventually mirror the John and Howard response. I'm gonna do it over here too, and then eventually I will actually give my go over that video over there. So look out for that. Anything else in particular as it pertains to this? Take one more quick look. Jumping off a cliff. You don't believe me? The sub goal with the whole which is another retrospective. Like I said, it's just a way of weeding out detractor content, going down the memory lane with John yet again, and it's just fluff content that doesn't require any like talent or skill, right, Phil? Right, Phil? Right. So nice pig noses on that. The vest streak itself, I think, even though I'm already cutting in on it late, because we're at 56 at this point, as you see it gradually make it from 1 to 73 when it actually ended, you see his dependence on it continue to grow. And I've posed this before, that he was trying to kill the vest streak almost as quickly as it started, for a couple of reasons. One, because the detractors were making fun of him and he didn't like that. But two, I think he didn't want to be dependent on it. I don't think he wanted it to be something that he was going to have to rely on, because Phil is a creature of habit. So when something is working and working well, he'll milk that shit to death. It's what he does. And I think with this vest streak thing, he didn't want that. That's why he wanted to be only an occasional type thing, special events, whatever buzzwords he wanted to use for it. But the money was so good and people kept hitting it that he slowly but surely showed his lack of mental discipline. And that's why he's at where he's at now. And he can't do anything about it. He can't escape that. Which is hilarious, to say the very least. And that would also, I think, honestly, that also explains why he's doing everything to keep it going. Even though 73 is when it officially died, he was quick to try to carry it over because he can't afford for it to die right now. And on top of the greed that he displayed with that shit early on, or occasionally, when he'll skip over certain tips, or he'll skip over tips, I should say, maybe not certain ones, but tips, to go ahead and pad it and make it a little bit more than 100. He'll only register it as 100 in tips, or $100 in tips. But in actuality, most of the time it was probably at closer to 110, 115. Because Phil is all about trying to get that little bit more, that little bit extra out of people. And I mean, what did you expect from a very dishonest scumbag? You can't expect honesty from people like him. He doesn't even know what that is. He's not even man enough to be honest with himself. Anybody who was living Darkside Phil's life would realize you need a change. You need a change. If you're going to continue doing this because you have no choice but to do it, you would want to change because you don't want to keep living like this. Phil don't. He's sitting there clenching on the shit saying that I'm successful because I was able to get my bankruptcy to go through. Like, there's something mentally wrong with that. But that's neither here nor there. We'll be working our way towards that broadcast. So keep a lookout for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. I'll see you guys for the next broadcast, whenever that may be. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Hopefully, at least for a little while, there'll be a level of consistency. I know that, like I said, some of the bigger projects that I had to get pushed back, or will have to be re-recorded. Also, we were supposed to already have a company meeting. That's not going to happen this quarter, so we'll just go ahead and do it next quarter, and so on and so forth. So that's a thing. But like I said, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. Appreciate all your patience and whatnot. It means a lot. And I support. And thank you very much for those who were able to find me on Fight Club channel and have been participating on that. More to what I've ever would have expected. So thank you very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is DSP News. Always late, never breaking. Unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh yes, GTG Network and Productions for the Snort Report. I've been your host, humble host, /anchor GTG, and I'm signing off. At least for the time being. Take care of yourselves, guys. End the broadcast.